What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including COVID-19 crisis in WWE, nobody wants to hire this former WWE champion, Rikishi wants Umaga in the Hall of Fame, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check us out on TikTok. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at COVID-19 crisis in WWE. Topping today's news is a story claiming that the WWE is experiencing another round of COVID cases, leading to questions as to how it might affect upcoming shows. PW Insider's Mike Johnson is reporting, PWInsider.com has learned from multiple sources that coming out of this past weekend's loop of live events and TV tapings, a number of talents and staff were feeling run down and have since tested positive for COVID-19, while others who were feeling sick are still waiting for their test results to return. The WWE has not released any names of individuals who test positive, and given the WWE's past policy of restricting this information, with occasional exceptions such as when Drew McIntyre tested positive for COVID-19 in January this year, it's unlikely fans will hear much. One of the biggest questions is how these results will affect the WWE's current schedule. According to Johnson, Friday's edition of SmackDown on Fox is already taped, so that show will not feature any changes due to the COVID positives. However, where this could have an immediate ripple effect is the return of post-Christmas holiday tour, which resumes after being paused last year due to the pandemic. How widespread the issues may be remains to be seen, but given quarantine requirements and the timing of positive COVID-19 tests, it's impossible there won't be some repercussions, as there's just not enough time for some talents and staff to test negative and be cleared to return. Now, though it may seem unlikely, there is the possibility that WWE's Day 1 pay-per-view could be affected as it's just 10 days away. Meanwhile, Johnson said there are no plans to cancel upcoming live events such as the WWE's big holiday show at Madison Square Garden on 26 December. As discussed in an earlier news video, it's likely that both the WWE and AEW are preparing to deal with running shows with no fans present should the Omicron variant of the coronavirus lead to any shutdowns. Next up, Vince McMahon refuses to budge on WWE contracts. But just how far is the WWE willing to go to keep top talent from signing with AEW? Well, that's a question fans are asking after Kevin Owens chose to re-up with the WWE. While the WWE's recent contract with Kevin Owens, believed to be between $2 to $3 million per year, shows the company is still interested in keeping key players by throwing mounds of money at them, there's still one thing that WWE CEO Vince McMahon reportedly refuses to give its wrestlers: a no-cut clause. Most fans are familiar with the WWE's unusual definition of what constitutes a contract when it comes to its wrestlers, something which has been repeatedly demonstrated thanks to WWE's seemingly endless releases in 2021. When a wrestler signs their WWE contract, said wrestler is obligated to abide by the length of the contract, but the WWE can release them at any time with a 90-day non-compete clause. For example, a wrestler who signs a 3-year deal with the company can be released at any time for any reason. However, said wrestler is stuck in the WWE for the entire term of their contract unless they negotiate a release. This has led to various criticisms of the WWE's contracts, but as of yet, the only way to get around a wrestler's vulnerability to being released at any time is by having a no-cut clause in their contract. While the no-cut clause might seem like an option to pursue, Fightful Select reports that Vince McMahon put the kibosh on any non-cut clauses, despite others in the WWE being open to the idea. According to the report, no-cut clauses are considered non-negotiable. Nonetheless, rumor has that key players in WWE such as Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton and Roman Reigns may have no-cut clauses. Now, Vince McMahon is known for being a tough businessman, so it's no surprise that the WWE Kingpin is unwilling to budge when it comes to a no-cut contract. At the same time, wrestlers who sign contracts that lack a no-cut provision only have themselves to blame if the WWE decides to release them before their contract expires. Wrestlers will remain in a vulnerable situation as long as the WWE opposes no-cut clauses and wrestlers refuse to negotiate for more equitable deals. Next up, nobody wants to hire this former WWE champion. Fans of the former WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio shouldn't expect to see him in any major promotion in the US, at least according to a report from Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp. Sapp recently reported, "I've spoken with people from WWE, MLW, Impact, who say that they either have no interest in bringing Del Rio in or would be shocked if it happens. AEW talent I've spoken to say they never heard him mentioned as even possibly coming in." You'll likely recall that Del Rio was released on 2 separate occasions from the WWE and was arrested in May of 2020 and later indicted on charges of aggravated kidnapping and assault. The cases were dropped earlier this month after a witness failed to show up. Given Del Rio's heated relationship with WWE, as well as the bad press generated after he dated WWE superstar Paige, the 44-year-old may not seem worth the trouble. Next up, Kevin Owens explains why no WWE superstars appeared at Ring of Honor Final Battle. A Ring of Honor's recent Final Battle pay-per-view featured a number of videos from AEW and Impact Wrestling stars paying tribute to Ring of Honor for helping them earlier in their careers. However, wrestling fans are wondering why there were no appearances by WWE superstars, many of whom had significant runs in Ring of Honor before heading to the WWE. While the answer may seem obvious, Kevin Owens recently discussed the real reason why. Speaking on podcast Le Antipode de la Lutte, sorry if I butchered that, KO explained, the answer is quite simple. Ring of Honor didn't ask any wrestlers from WWE to do that, nor contacted anyone at WWE. I've read some people on the internet saying that probably WWE didn't let us do it. That's incorrect. It's just Ring of Honor who didn't ask us. I bet if they had, we could have done it, but that wasn't the case. Owens, who held the Ring of Honor World Championship as Kevin Steen and Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship with El Generico, aka Sami Zayn, looked back at his time in Ring of Honor and whether his time there led to the WWE signing him. Even if my goal was always to go with WWE, there was a point in my life where I had my son and my wife, and I was thinking that traveling so much, like would have to do that in WWE, was not the best thing for me. So I was thinking that the more time I can make a living working Ring of Honor, that's what I would do. However, with my time, my priorities changed a little, my family's priorities changed a little, and that's when WWE became my goal again. KO, who recently signed a new deal to stay in the WWE, said that he first caught the WWE's attention when William Regal saw him working in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Owens continued saying, Ring of Honor was a big influence and a huge part of my career, but I often wonder if Ring of Honor would not have been a part of my career if I would have made it to WWE anyway. A huge part of me thinks so. That said, I have plenty of good and fun memories with Ring of Honor, and I'm happy to have been part of Ring of Honor for all those years. And while Ring of Honor never achieved a national presence like WWE and AEW, the promotion has a rich legacy featuring some of today's biggest stars including CM Punk, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, The Young Bucks, Bryan Danielson, and many others. Next up, Umaga in the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, with WrestleMania just months away, fans are curious about who will be inducted into next year's Hall of Fame. Now, former superstar Rikishi, who entered the Hall of Fame in 2015, is making the case that it's time for his brother Edward Fatu to be recognized for his contributions to the squared circle. Fatu, best known for his time in WWE as Umaga, enjoyed a huge main event run as the Samoan Bulldozer in 2006 and 2007. Arguably best known for his appearance at WrestleMania 23's Battle of the Billionaires, where he represented Mr. McMahon against Donald Trump's representative Bobby Lashley, Umaga's career was cut short on 4th December 2009, where he died of a drug-related heart attack at age 36. Rikishi recently tweeted his wish for Umaga to enter the Hall of Fame. I feel it's long overdue. Umaga Hall of Fame class of 2022. What you say, WWE Universe? Should my brother go in this year? Do you think Umaga belongs in the Hall of Fame? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, a former WWE superstar returning to the ring. And last but not least, fans of the WWE Spirit Squad could see the return of former member Mikey. PW Insider's Mike Johnson recently reported that former WWE and Ring of Honor star Mike Mondo, aka Michael Brendley, is working towards a full-time comeback in 2022. Mike has been teasing a return on social media as well, asking fans which wrestling persona he should adopt upon his return. Now, while Dolph Ziggler, aka Spirit Squad member Nikki, is undoubtedly the most successful member of the WWE's unlikely 5-man faction of male cheerleaders, Mondo has kept wrestling, including time in Major League Wrestling, where he teamed with former Spirit Squad member Kenny Dykstra. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.